Hey guys, what's up? Dingo Crikey here with another episode review. This time looking at Transformers Robots in Disguise, episode 22. So here we are at Robots in Disguise, episode 22, getting pretty close to the finale. But despite the episodes from the two previous weeks, this week's episode really doesn't have anything that contributes to the overall plot. With the introduction of another Dinobot, we do get to see something more relevant in regards to the Decepticon of the week and then Grimlock's development, but primarily it is a more standard Robots in Disguise episode that really feels more like filler. So what do we have for the plot? We have the story with the new Decepticon on the loose, which is Scowl, and then we have the human story. First, looking at the story with the Decepticon, I did enjoy Scowl as a Decepticon character. While himself, he's nothing too interesting, it is definitely cool to see another Dinobot character, and having Grimlock deal with the whole issue that he is an Autobot now and he can't act like the other Dinobots, it helps give more depth to the characters, which is much more than I could say for a lot of the Decepticon of the Week type of stories. I was pleased to see them bring up some things about Grimlock's character that otherwise we really wouldn't have got. For example, in previous Transformers series, where we have a Decepticon join the Autobots, or maybe it's like in the beginning of Transformers Energon and all of the Decepticons are with the Autobots, we just have them basically on the Autobot side now, and before they were a bloodthirsty Decepticon. From what Bumblebee says, we get the idea that Grimlock was able to make that change because though he was chaotic and liked destroying things, he was never really out there to hurt anyone. On the contrary, Scowl is. Apparently, he's not just into smashing stuff for fun, he's actually doing it with malicious intent. So I like that they made that contrast, which obviously allowed Grimlock to join the Autobots, and made Scowl basically an impossible candidate for the team, and I thought that was actually cool that they confronted that. That in the end of the episode, Grimlock basically realizes if someone doesn't want to be helped, you can't really do much about it. I mean, yeah, it is still one of the lessons that are thrown into each episode, which a lot of us aren't totally cool with, but I do like how this one was a little bit more mature and not just a super positive, well, we can work out anything if we believe in it, one of those kind of messages. And I think Grimlock actually brings a lot of those stories to this table, probably because he is that character who was previously a Decepticon. A lot of the lessons they do with him, I feel like, actually contribute to significant character development and are handled pretty well. As for Scowl himself, I can't speak too much on his development because he really didn't have any. Basically, at first, he seems like a pretty nice guy, except obviously rambunctious, and then as the episode goes on, we learn, as we would suspect, that he is pretty much a jerk. As I said, this worked out well for Grimlock's development and that part of the story, but I would have liked to see something a little bit more from Scowl, rather than him just being a total one-dimensional jerk. Didn't want to see him join the Autobots, but I would have liked a little bit more to make him a more memorable character. While I'm there, I should probably touch on some other things in regards to his character. We did learn that he previously worked under Thunderhoof. I really like that they included that bit of detail, and I'm curious as to whether or not that will play in later in the story. It would be cool if it did, as Scowl gives Grimlock a nemesis, and personally I thought he had a pretty cool design. In robot mode, a little clunky looking and typical, but beast mode was really cool looking. Even the hammer on the end of the tail was kind of awkward, but pretty cool. Even if they don't bring him back as a regular Decepticon, it was thoughtful of them to include a detail in regards to another character rather than just saying, oh, he was another guy who destroyed stuff. Also, I'm glad that they picked out the name Scowl for this character instead of using Snarl, which probably would have been the other best candidate, because I don't really want to see Snarl as a bad guy. I'd prefer them to bring in some of the other Dinobots, the G1 cast, as characters who could be a potential team for Grimlock, if they ever decide to do that. So while that part of the story overall is pretty good, it obviously is only half of the story, and it is unfortunate because then we have the human side of the story. The human characters haven't been all that bad in the last few episodes. This one kind of makes up for it, though. Basically, the plotline felt like total filler. We have Denny feeling useless again, Russell being kind of embarrassed by his dad again, and then Fix-It helping them out here and there. I mean, Fix-It was kind of enjoyable in some of these scenes, but I really could have foregone it for this story to have been annexed. I know it's supposed to be the comic relief of the episode, but I'm not really feeling it. And also, like I said, it's repetitive, which definitely isn't a good thing. Especially when we are nearing the end of Season 1 and we still have a lot of stuff like this taking up time. Yeah, it doesn't help that this episode had nothing that contributed to the bigger plot. They're just throwing it in like the 2 previous episodes, but should mention, nothing I caught in this one unless you consider the mention of Scowl formerly working for Thunderhoof. I think that sums up all of the plot details. As far as the characters go, obviously we have some good Grimlock development in this episode, touched on him, Scowl, along with the human characters. The rest of the Autobots kind of just filled their status quo roles in this one. Bumblebee does do more than the rest of them with dealing with Grimlock's whole conflict, but other than that, he has his whole roll out joke, and then the other Autobots, just fill their roles. Especially the whole Jetstorm and Slipstream thing with them getting kind of unruly, and then "we are sorry, Master Drift." We just see a lot of it. It's okay at times, but every single episode, I was hoping they would do more with the new Autobot additions. But that sums up the characters. Other things about this episode, some really, really cool action sequences. Not the best the show has seen, but whenever Grimlock's in a fight scene, it's normally pretty cool. And some of the scenes between him and Scowl, I really did enjoy them. But that's really all I could think of for this episode. So overall, I would probably give this one a 7 or 7.5 out of 10 if it was solely based on the Grimlock story. But being that the Russell and Denny stuff takes up so much time, I'd probably lower it to a 6 out of 10. Also taking into consideration that this is nearing the season finale and we aren't really seeing a whole lot. So I think that's where I'm going to put it. 6 out of 10. You guys can leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Do you think this episode deserves a higher or lower rating? What do you think of the introduction of Scowl as another Dinobot? And do you think we'll see him in the future? I know some of you have already seen the episodes finishing up Season 1, but potentially in Season 2 if he hasn't appeared in those. Along with your thoughts on this review, drop off any topic suggestions you have for Transformers, Robots in Disguise, Transformers 5, Combiner Wars, or Bionicle if you have any topic ideas. And even if I don't do a whole video on it, I'll try to get to replying to your comment or at least answering it in a Q&A. Anyways, that's all I have for this one. Stick around for more Transformers news, commentary, and reviews. Thanks for watching. Have a good one, guys, and I will see you soon.